I'm missing my little cursor. Good morning, everyone. Debbie, I cannot hear you. I don't know if it's your volume or what it is. So this is a presentation on the benefits of going more plant-based. Welcome, everyone. I think we're expecting 8 people, but in the interest of time, I think we should get started. So if anything is obstructing your view on the screen, please just send me a direct message. Let me pull up just for a second. All right. So today we're going to talk about why more plants in your diet helps boost your immune system. I'll have some of the most recent research on that. I'm sure you've heard that eating more fruits and vegetables is beneficial, but we'll dig a little deeper. I will also talk about probiotics and prebiotics and how it helps digestion. We'll talk about fiber, which is the key to staying full and reducing calories smart. We'll talk about why people live longer in areas where they eat more plants. We'll talk about local eating and why plant-based is better for the environment. And then we'll finish with some Q&A. I am Anna Harris. If you don't know me, I am a personal trainer and nutrition coach at the YMCA. I am a precision nutrition certified, and I focus on habit-based nutrition. So not diet, because we're all different, and using one diet to fit all is not really realistic. But over the years, there's been more and more research that shows that eating more plants helps you live longer, helps you live healthier, and it's just good on so many levels. Before we proceed, I would like to ask everyone to mute themselves so the sound doesn't interfere with this presentation. And if you have any questions, please leave them until the end, and I'll be happy to address all of them. So let's talk about eating the rainbow. So eating more plants helps reduce inflammation, helps lower cardiovascular disease, and boost immunity. Why fruits and vegetables? How do you think you would feel if you were eating only brown and white food? It may sound too simplistic, but in reality, more color in your diet, more happiness in the body, to put it in simple terms. So eating a variety of fruits and vegetables helps you feel better, and it boosts your nutrition. Fruits and vegetables keep you hydrated thanks to the high water content. You know how we often hear drink your 8 glasses of water a day. Now that is an average. It really differs for everyone, but you don't get your water just from water. You can get it from plants, from vegetables, especially from fruits, and also from beans and grains that are cooked in water, so they absorb all that water. So getting more hydration helps you feel better, and it helps all the joints function better, having more water content. Fruits and vegetables also have a lot of fiber, and that helps your digestion work more smoothly. They also happen to be low in calories because of that volume, because fiber adds bulk. And they're also low in fat. You know, those claims you see on some of the processed packaged ingredients, no fat, no sugar, but there are a lot of other additives. Well, there are no additives with fruits and vegetables. It's like a WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get, right? So they're naturally high in water, high in fiber, low in fat. And the fruits that are high in sugar contain natural sugar, which is different from added sugar, which is why now on the labels you see added sugar listed separately, because natural sugar is digested quickly versus added sugar in snacks that really adds a lot of disturbance in your system. Fruits and vegetables are also alkaline producing. So a lot of the foods we eat, especially processed foods, have a lot of acidity in them. And having a lot of acidity is damaging to your stomach over time. So that's why it's good to aim for a balance of a little bit more alkaline type foods versus acidic. It also helps preserve bone mass and muscle tissue. So we need plenty of fruits and vegetables that are alkaline producing to balance out the ones, to balance, first of all, the necessary protein intake, which is more acid producing, and also all the fast food that's more acid producing. Fruits and vegetables are also primary sources of fruits of vitamins and minerals, and also antioxidants. A lot of them, there are thousands of them that are not easily identified, but are super, super beneficial because they are derived naturally from fruits and vegetables. And even if you take vitamins and minerals, it's not, they're not digested as easily as the ones that are produced in nature. So alkaline foods and foods high in vitamins and minerals are highly present in Mediterranean diet, which is why you hear about it as being really, really helpful to a longer life, better cardiovascular health. And so we try to avoid the ones that are the foods that are higher processed, that are sugary, simple carb kinds of foods, not only because they are acid producing, but also because they raise blood sugar levels too quickly. They lack nutrients, and some of them may be toxic too. On the other hand, foods that are high in antioxidants, like fruits and vegetables, offer more benefits. So fruits and vegetables add value. We probably don't need to discuss that. I'm sure all of you know that. If you eat more of them, you get more energy, more nutrients, more water, improved digestion. The plant-based diets also reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease, cancer, and they slow aging. In a very recent study last year in the Journal of Gut, said that people who reported eating the most fruits, vegetables, and legumes were also had a 6% lower risk of getting COVID and 41% lower risk of developing severe COVID during that study period. So it was an observational study, but it's interesting to see that most recent research showing that it helps even with the latest diseases. So try to eat the rainbow. When I coach people for nutrition, I don't start with how much you eat of this or that. I don't really talk about quantity. We talk about quality. And the quality is about eating the rainbow, about inclusion rather than deprivation. So instead of let's cut out all the sugar, how about let's add some more fruits and vegetables? So this way you maximize the nutritional value, and slowly you kind of overtake your plate with those healthier foods, leaving less room for the ones that are maybe less desirable. So let's talk about greens. So the green foods is the dark leafy greens are especially beneficial. And color matters. Use the ones that are brighter in color, because that means they have more antioxidants. Later on, when they turn yellow and brown, they're kind of losing the nutrients, and they're also losing flavor. So look for the ones that are bright. And plant foods contain thousands of natural chemicals. They're called phytonutrients. Well, phytochemicals. Phyto is, I don't know if you're familiar with Greek, but it's a Greek word for plant. So these chemicals help protect plants from different bugs and threats and germs. And so you're getting them when you're eating these foods. So there are more than 25,000 phytonutrients out there that are documented. There might be even more. So leaves in particular are important when you eat the green foods, like dark leafy greens with high in vitamin K. They help prevent bone loss and fight cardiovascular disease. So some examples would be, I don't know if the screen is covered, I apologize, my mouse is kind of disappearing. But they're high in vitamin K. Examples are Swiss chard, salad greens, spinach, arugula. But other green foods are amazing, like broccoli and Brussels sprouts, because they're also high in fiber. And increased intake of greens by just one serving a day can lower your risk of diabetes by 9%. So that is powerful, right? And it's easy to add them. So if you don't like eating, you might eat a salad, you might enjoy that, but not everyone likes to eat the salad. You can also add it into a smoothie. So it's a good way to mix it in and blend it. It will also be digested fast. You can add it to stir fries and soups and eggs. And lots of phytonutrients. Some of the examples, if you're interested, which ones are known to be in green foods: lutein, flavonoids, EGCG, some of those. Okay, and we eat more not as colorful foods overall. So here's an example: an average adults in the US eat 70 pounds of potatoes each year, and potatoes are great, but by contrast, we're not getting enough greens, only a quarter pound of Brussels sprouts. It's a very, very low amount. Now let's talk about reds. Reds have superpowers because they're high in vitamins A and C, and those reduce the risk of prostate, cervical, and lung cancer. They're also high in electrolytes, which are the minerals such as potassium, magnesium, and sodium. So they protect from heart disease and lower blood pressure. They also lower cholesterol and support joint tissue. So some examples are tomatoes is a great example of reds, and also watermelon, cranberries, pomegranates, and don't forget about spices. So fresh chilies, obviously, but also dried chilies. So you can add tomatoes to your salad, or you can blend things. You can make a pasta sauce with fresh tomatoes. You can make chili with some of these red foods. Red cabbage is a great example, even though it's sometimes called purple cabbage, but that is super high in antioxidants. And you can add it to slaw, you can add it to stir fry, you can add it to eggs. So you can snack on watermelons, cherries, or raspberries, especially in the summertime when they're in season, we have so much of it. The biggest red phytonutrient that we're familiar with is lycopene. It's very, very high in tomatoes, but also all of these other red foods. Moving on to oranges. So the orange foods, pretty easy to identify. Oranges are the most common, all kinds of citrus fruits, mangoes, cantaloupe, pumpkin, carrots, but also more yellow foods like pineapple and corn. They're also high, just like reds, they're high in vitamins A and C, so they have all those same benefits. Vitamin C is especially good for the immune system, which is why you often hear about the benefits of those orange foods like oranges and lemons when people are sick. And you can add a lot of the orange foods to cooked foods like pasta. You can blend in pumpkin or carrots. You can bake a lot of things with the orange foods. Or you can also just add them to your oatmeal or eat them fresh, like pineapple or citrus fruits. And ginger, which is part of the orange family, is a very popular ingredient in blue zone areas, which we'll cover in a bit. But these are areas in the world where people live to 100 years and older. Bioavailability actually increases for some of the foods, like you getting more carotene when carrots are cooked. So you actually get more out of the carrots when they're cooked versus when they're fresh. So that is common overall for the orange foods. Same applies to pumpkin and sweet potatoes. Moving on to purples, it's the bright color purple that comes from a really amazing phytonutrient. One of the most powerful ones, the anthocyanin. And it's present in foods like eggplant and blueberries, red grapes, beets, and blackberries. It is also present in peanuts and in cocoa. So even though it's dark, it's the purple types of ingredients that are in it. And in addition to anthocyanins, also resveratrol is a big one. It's very high in grapes, and it affects you in a very positive way because it lowers your blood pressure. That's one of the strongest points. But it also reduces inflammation that contributes to cardiovascular disease, that contributes to diabetes and various immune conditions. And it slows down the spread of cancer in some observational studies. So you can add the berries to your oatmeal or smoothie or cereal or yogurt. You can also grill some of these purple foods like eggplant or beets, and you get more out of them when you cook some of them. And if you've never tried a purple potato, try it. It tastes the same as the white potato, but it has, because of the color, it has those amazing anthocyanins, those phytonutrients that make you feel better and live longer. But it doesn't, I don't mean to say that the white potatoes should be off the table, because the whites are also important colors of the plants, because they benefit the bone strength and blood circulation. And they have compounds that lower cholesterol, and they're super high in potassium and selenium. Garlic and onion are examples of white foods, and I don't know when you cook if you use them, but they're a great beginning to many dishes, and you're guaranteed to get those white phytonutrients. Tea is also high in phytonutrients, and it's the white phytonutrients. Apples, even though they're darker in color, they're actually considered white because of the flesh. And the biggest phytonutrients that's present in the white type of foods are flavonols. So those are the colors. So very important colors. So when you go shopping, start on the perimeter. Your very first stop is the produce aisle. Number one, because it's the freshest, so you don't have to worry about sitting in your cart, but also because it's the most beneficial from your health. So why not start there? Why not Begin with that and use what's in season. And we'll talk about that in a bit. Now, a lot of the labels, people have asked me over the years how to read the labels, and you can see if they're organic normally, right? It would say on it that it's organic. But if you know the labels, it helps because there is a 9, which is organic. 3 or 4 is conventional, non-organic, but 8 is the one I would probably walk away from because that is genetically modified. So there are ingredients added that we don't know how it affects our health, and often it affects us in a negative way. So look at the labels and look at those numbers. Really aim for, here's an example of bullseye of ingredients, because I'm going to talk about our bodies not absorbing all those great vitamins and minerals that we might be eating, especially as we age. We absorb less and less. So it's important to also pair the foods that help absorption. So a couple examples is iron and vitamin C. So maybe pairing spinach and steak using the combination of iron and vitamin C together helps you absorb both better. Another example might be tomato and chicken. Okay, so those are good pairings. And when you eat, ask yourself, I know you've just shopped on the perimeter, you picked the fresh fruits and veggies, but ask yourself, how close is your food to the source when you're eating? Because the closer it is to the source, to the bullseye of ingredients, the better it is for your body. It's digested better, and it is a healthier type of food. So for example, if we talk about potato, if you look at the baked potato, right, it's the original, closest bullseye. If you go a step further, mashed potato, you start adding ingredients, you start modifying, a little bit further away, not as beneficial. You go even further, you get fries. And then you're adding a lot of acidity, and it is further from the source, and it's the least beneficial. So less processing, aim for less processing, because then you'll get more nutrients, and it will be better for your health. Now, I mentioned organic, and a lot of the times people ask me if organic is always better. And the answer is no. There is a set of fruits and vegetables that I would recommend eating organic, and there are only 12 of them. And so there's a list published by the Environmental Working Group. You can find them online at ewg.org. And you can get this list, and every year they update the list. So the 12 that we recommend eating organic is called the Dirty Dozen. These are foods that have the most pesticides added to them, most pesticide contamination, and that changes year by year. Now, when you cook and when you rinse with water or baking soda, that helps reduce pesticides, but not entirely. And the pesticides are harmful because they've been shown to cause cancer, ADHD, hormone disruption, even Parkinson's. So avoid eating those 12. Now, the list that you see right now, the list was just published basically last week. It's for 2022, and it's the latest Dirty Dozen list. And that list changes every year. But at the top of the list, strawberries. Always aim to eat strawberries organic because those are the ones that have the most pesticides. Spinach is there too, a lot of greens, nectarines. Apples are usually on this list year to year. And you can see the whole list on the screen. On the other hand, there are foods that are called Clean 15, and those are the ones that have the least pesticides. And typically, these are the foods that have skin that you don't eat. And that's kind of my rule of thumb. If you don't eat the skin, don't really need to worry as much about organic nor organic. So avocados, we don't need the skin, but they're also least in pesticides. Sweet corn, we don't eat the husk, right? We clear it. Um, Pineapples, onions, papayas, sweet peas, asparagus. No skin on asparagus, but it's very, very low in pesticides. So this is the list. The list on the right is you don't have to worry about buying these organic. And unfortunately, organic foods cost more. And I actually heard that Paul McCartney, who has been a vegetarian for a long time, long time, he started a campaign to reduce the prices of organic foods because they shouldn't be that much more. They should be more accessible, right? So let's talk about probiotics. So we've talked about one of the benefits of plants is that they have a lot of probiotics in them. And the probiotics essentially mean before life, if you translate it. So these are elements that help beneficial bacteria. When you look, if you buy a probiotic supplement, the first name that appears, for example, lactobacillus, is the type of the genus, and then the second name designates the species. And the third name is the number and the strain. And we have over 50 types of bacteria that provide over 500 species. And from there, some say that bacteria, it's a whole organ, that the gut, that probiotic organ is like the whole organ, and it's as important as the liver, all the bacteria that we have in our body. Commercial bacteria, mostly members of lactobacillus and bifidobacterium. Those are the two most common ones. And then supplements, if you take a supplement, look for the ones that have 3 to 5 billion. However, you can also get probiotics from food. So there are billions of bacteria in food, and they can help replenish the ones you have now. They help reduce IBS and inflammatory conditions. And we need bacteria in the gut because they help influence metabolism, digestion, they support the immune system, they help synthesize B and K vitamins and absorb other nutrients. And they also improve just overall fluidity in your digestion. And they help block some of the bad bacteria. When you start, if you haven't been eating a lot of probiotics and you start adding them now, you might feel discomfort because you may not be used to them. So the more you add, the better you will feel. So give it a little bit of time. The discomfort slowly goes away, and then you feel great. The addition of probiotics is incredibly beneficial. But you might have heard that there are also prebiotics. So prebiotics, I don't know why I can't get rid of this on the screen. Prebiotics help probiotics feed. So you basically feed probiotics. They come before, right? And probiotics are usually created by fermentation. And fermentation creates good bacteria and helps disable anti-nutrients. One of the byproducts of fermentation is B12. And that is something that is often missing in vegetarian diets. So if somebody is completely plant-based, they often lack B12. So they often need supplementation. However, if they eat a lot of probiotics, they will be getting that vitamin, that B12 plenty. So keep probiotics cool because heat will destroy bacteria, and that includes pasteurization. So yeast probiotics are also good, like wine and soy sauce and miso and tempeh, but you can also find them on this list right here. Obviously, the ones with the highest concentration of bacteria, the ones we know the most of, yogurt, sauerkraut, kefir, pickles, a lot of pickles, pickled food like pickles and kimchi, and sauerkraut. Prebiotics help feed probiotics. So they're found in foods like bananas and onions and artichokes and garlic, honey and asparagus and oatmeal. So all the gut bacteria need something to feed on, and they love those prebiotics. So if you eat more prebiotics, you're going to help produce more probiotics in your body. So one of the advantages of eating more plants is that they help you stay fuller. They have minimal calories. You know, here's a good example. 30 calories in a cup of carrots, or 20 calories in a serving of asparagus. And they're also high in water. But most importantly, they're high in fiber. And fiber is king and queen, right? When you hear about different conditions that people have in the US, 60% of people have one or more gastrointestinal problems. And digestion responds really quickly to what we eat and drink and how we do it. And making nutritional changes is never too late, and it makes you feel better, helps a lot of these conditions. And fiber is really one of the most crucial ingredients. Increasing fiber is one of the best things you can do for digestion. It reduces cholesterol, it helps improve blood sugar, and it helps improve gut bacteria. It helps produce more probiotics so you can reduce the inflammation. So fiber, just like probiotics, sometimes makes you feel fuller when you start adding significantly more in the diet, and you might feel the bloat, but over time your body gets used to it, and then it actually does the reverse. It reduces the inflammation. Some of the examples of fiber are black beans, other types of beans too, but especially black beans. Lentils, super high in fiber, also high in iron, which is great. Avocado, raspberries, peas, Brussels sprouts, a lot of other vegetables, but these are really the key ones. And then fruits like pears and apples as well. How much fiber do you get? Do you know how much fiber you get? So an average person gets 16 grams, but the recommended intake for women is 25, and for men is 38. If you're not getting enough, try to increase it gradually. And it could be as simple as adding an extra fruit a day or an extra cup of veggies. So that will help reduce the inflammation, and that will keep you fuller. So you will be a little bit more alert and more, it will help you move better. And of course, your digestion is affected by your physical activity. So when you combine more fiber and more physical activity, that has tremendous benefits. The best types of fiber is soluble fiber. So it's a soluble fiber helps reduce cholesterol because it kind of forms a slow moving gel that picks up all the gunk through the intestines. So if you were to picture, you know, this like flow that picks up everything that is not beneficial through the intestines. It picks up fat, it picks up cholesterol, bile salts, it picks up sugar. So in addition to improving gut health, it also helps reduce, helps regulate hormones, and in particular insulin. So having more fiber helps with a variety of conditions. Some of the examples that are really great at regulating hormones are chickpeas, beans, peas, and lentils. Those are some of the best types of fiber. And we talked about prebiotics. Of course, don't forget that prebiotics help feed the good gut bugs and help reduce inflammation. So make sure you get some of these prebiotics like beans and onions, asparagus, and apples. So let's touch a little bit on blue zones. Blue zones are the areas of the world where people live to 100 and beyond, and they live healthfully. I have recently met my kid's great grandmother, and she's 106. She doesn't live in blue zone area, but she's always been more plant-based. And that is something that is common in the blue zone areas. People eat more plants. But they also stay active. They have connections in the community, like you all do at the Y, and they eat slowly and mindfully. So that can apply. That doesn't have to be just about a gourmet meal at a Michelin star restaurant. It could be at home, just enjoying your chili or salad or whatever else you're eating. Slowly and mindfully helps digestion as well. So what do they eat in the blue zones? This plate is a great example of that. So a lot of beans like chickpeas, like hummus, grains like tabbouleh, obviously fruits and vegetables. And typically everything is local, so local produce. And they pickle a lot because the fermentation, as you know, helps produce probiotics. Having those pickled foods is really helpful. 95% of foods they eat are plant foods, especially beans and greens and sweet potatoes and lots and lots of leafy greens, turnip tops, chard, collards. They also eat a lot of consume a lot of olive oil that has been known to lower bad cholesterol. And they eat foods that are minimally processed, fresh and whole foods. And they eat meat on occasions. It kind of differs by area, but majority of their diet is plant-based. And somebody actually, I liked an article in Harvard School of Public Health. One of the scientists named Walter Willett, I think it's kind of extreme, but it's an interesting quote. He said, meat is like radiation. We don't know the safe level, but we know that too much of it is not good. So green leafy vegetables are a big part of the blue zone areas, and green leafy vegetables keep you sharp. Dr. Gupta, in his book Chasing Life, where he talked about longer longevity, he referred to a study of 13,000 older women, and he said that women who ate the most leafy veggies experienced slower cognitive decline. And a lot of other studies show that people that consume more leafy greens tend to age slower and their brains are sharper. Now, how important is it to eat in season and eat local? The foods that are local are better for you, and they're also better for the planet because there are only two exceptions. Sugar, sweetened beverages have really no impact on the environment, and also eating fish may be better for you, but unfortunately, catching fish is not as beneficial. So foods that promote good health, fruits, vegetables, are also easier to harvest, and they're not as damaging to the environment as meat because of those greenhouse gases. And the negative environmental effect of producing, here's an example, negative environmental effect of producing one serving of red meat, whether it's processed or not, is from 10 to 100 times larger than the effect of vegetable production. So that is sourced from the proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. But it's pretty obvious that plant foods are better for the environment. Now, there's a seasonal cycle to when something is in season, right? So it also differs by area. This is applied to Midwest, where we all live. So in winter, what's in season would be carrots and all kinds of root vegetables. In the fall, it would be broccoli and cabbage and pumpkin and sweet potatoes, but also cranberries and pomegranates. In the summer, peppers and eggplant and corn, apples and grapes. And in the spring, it would be artichokes and asparagus, cucumbers, snap peas, lots of green foods, but also mushrooms and fresh potatoes. So the benefits of eating fresh and in season, what you get is you save money. Number one, seasonal fruits and vegetables are cheaper. Eating in season also means you're eating as fresh as possible, because seasonal food tastes better because it's at the peak of its prime, and you're getting the most nutrients, the most antioxidants, and the most flavor. It's also safer because if it's local, fewer hands are touching the food and production, and lower chances also of foodborne illness. For the environment, you support the local community and the farmers, so local economy benefits. You get to know who grows your food and how, right? There's a big advantage to that. And the carbon footprint of shipping food year round is very substantial. So that increases all those fossil fuels that are not good for the environment. And also you save on waste when you eat in season. You save money on store markups for processing. They say that food that's purchased at a standard grocery store can provide 3.5 cents of every food dollar to the farmer. And the rest of the money goes to processors, suppliers, and marketers. So the farmers don't get that much when the food is produced year round. On average, food travels 1,000 to 3,000 miles to get to our kitchens. And so it's important to support local farmers for all these reasons. What's in season now in April? The ingredients that are going to be freshest, cheapest, and also with the most nutrients. Here are some examples. Strawberries. Remember, we buy them organic because they're on the list of Dirty Dozen. Cherries, green onions, asparagus, green peas, artichokes, radishes, and beets. These are the ingredients that are in season now. So we've talked about the benefits. We've talked about all the details of plant-based foods. So how can we get more in our diet? Number one is adding. Remember in the beginning when I talked about how instead of cutting something out, we add something in. So let's start by adding more plants. So for lunch, maybe add a fruit or add whatever vegetable you have on hand or you buy. Add whole grains. So add a little something more to each meal. You might already be getting some plants, but add a little bit more. You know, it could be a side salad, it could be fruit, could be shake. I really like baked chickpeas. It's a great snack, easy snack, and it's really beneficial plant-based ingredient. In addition to adding, keep it in sight. You know, I can tell you, clean the pantry from ingredients that are processed, but we can go the other way. And instead of focusing on that, focus on keeping the fresh ingredients in sight. Maybe a bowl of fruit or bananas or berries. So keeping them visible, and in your fridge, keeping them visible right at the front where you can see. You can also make one meal a day plant-based entirely. So I call it eating vegetarian or vegan for breakfast, or eating vegetarian for lunch or snack or dinner. Every little bit counts. Every little bit you add is more than you had before. And really encourage you to think about plants first when you plan your meals. A lot of the times people that don't eat a plant-based diet or fully plant-based diet like vegetarians, they focus on the meat first when they think about how they're planning their lunch or dinner. So, chicken for dinner, for example. But let's flip it and think about what vegetable or grain, what are you going to, making that the star. Start planning around that, so you make sure you get it in on your plate every time. You can also reduce reliance on meat, so find other protein sources. There are plenty of great protein sources. Some of the ones I have listed here are the ingredients that are highest in protein. So tofu, tempeh, lentils, edamame, all kinds of beans and seeds, a variety of nuts, wild rice. If you're looking for more protein-based bread, Ezekiel bread is really good for that. And you can shift focus, as I mentioned, planning your meals more around plants. And so in the end, it's outcrowding. The plants are kind of outcrowding everything else, and you're getting more, and you're getting all the great benefits with them. So that is all I wanted to share today. And if you're interested in one-on-one nutrition coaching, where I provide accountability and support and kind of focus on individual, what works for you, not a cookie cutter diet, not a meal prescription, but foods that help you live better, then please reach out to me. We also have other options at the YMCA, like the diabetes prevention program that Megan leads right now. And if you have any questions, sometimes I'm gonna ask for questions now, but sometimes people don't think of questions right away. They think of them the minute we're done, right? So if that happens, you can find me at the Y, or you can email me at harris1147@gmail.com.
Thank you,
So,
Anna. Can you hear me now?
yes.
I am so sorry, everyone, about the opening, but I want to say that was a tremendous presentation. And I do have a couple questions to get the ball rolling, if that's okay with everyone. One, could you comment on like serving size for some of these things, like fruits and vegetables? What's an average serving size, or for like nuts or whole grains?
So I like to use a hand for serving sizes, because a hand is something that's individual to you. Everybody's going to have a hand proportionate to their size, and it's always with you, right? You don't have to have a measuring cup or anything else. So for fruits and vegetables, the serving size is a fist. So if you look at your fist, that's one serving. And with each meal, we want to get at least 2 servings of fruits and vegetables. So if you look at your fist, it's very easy to make a salad with more than that, right? So that's why leafy greens are such an easy way to get more in. If you talk about fats, and nuts are an example of their protein, but they're more in the fat category, it's your thumb. And, it's not that much, because fat is a very concentrated ingredient, nutrient. So, maybe 6 nuts, that would be a serving. If you look at cheese, that's even less, but that's a thumb. If you talk about protein, it's your palm. So the palm of your hand. And if you talk about grains, it's a cupped hand. So if you look at rice, for example, your cupped hand is your serving of grains.
Excellent. Are there any other questions for Anna today? Okay, well, I wanted to say thank you so much, Anna. Sorry for the early technical issues, but this was a fabulous presentation. Thank you for tuning in to the YES series. I'd like to remind you that coming up on Thursday, April 14th at 11 a.m., we have another presentation about services for seniors at the North Public Library. And again, I encourage you, if you're interested in learning more, you can reach Anna at the Y, and she is certainly a good expert on this topic.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.